Good morning, my dear students. Welcome back. The previous class we have completed composition writing. I hope all you have completed the composition. In this class we are going to learn Unit 3 B part. The topic of the lesson is Uncle's Little Invention. Again I repeat the topic, Uncle's Little Inventions. So all of you take a textbook and take page number 52. This story is written by Cbse. Okay. So now take it fast. We can start the lesson now. Dear students, page number 52. Uncle's Little Invention. The invention means to find something. See, what if you are suddenly catapulted into your outer space on one fine day? Can you imagine the experience? So we are live on Earth, that we know. So suddenly one day if you are in space, how you are get felt? So this is a question asked in the beginning of the lesson. Now we can enter the lesson. Uncle's inventions always work, answered Jim firmly. So who's the first main character? Uncle, and the answer by Jim. So he is the main character. It was true. Professor Warren's inventions were world famous. He could have made 10 fortune he had so wished, but he was already a wealthy man. Consequently, he devoted himself to invention which interested him, quite ignoring their usefulness. Sometimes they are opposite to useful. For instance, he had invented a food which turned whoever ate it bright blue all over without harming them. He had tried it on Jim. He was quite surprised to hear that Jim's life at school had been made a misery until the color had worn off, as it did towards the end of the term with the help of frequent hot baths. So here the first they give introduction about uncle. So here the uncle is Professor Warren. He was a inventor. So who said these words? Jim. Okay. He said it's true. Professor Warren's inventions are how it was. It is a world famous inventions. He could have made 10 fortune he had so wished, but already a wealthy man. So there are many inventions invented by the uncle. Of course, he was a very wealthy man in the country. Consequently, he had devoted himself to invention which interested him, quite ignoring the usefulness. So maximum he spent the time for invent something. It may be use or usefulness or not use, but he not take care of them. He want to invent something. So this is his interest. Sometimes they were opposite to useful. Of course, I said it is may use or may not use, but he frequently invented something. This is his habit. For instance, he had invented a food which turned over it bright blue all over. So one day he invented one food. If we eat the food, the body fully changed to the blue color. So in that time he had tried to Jim. So who he tried on Jim. He ate the food. In the school, everybody looked at him differently. So at the last day of turn, he could frequent of hot baths only, the color removed. So this is the introduction given in the first paragraph. In spite of Jim always enjoyed his visit to his uncle, the professor allowed him to wander all over wonderful workshops and do what he pleased. For the first time, he had gained permission to the chum Tony to stay with him also. So Jim always want to spend the time with the uncle. So the professor, of course, he allowed him to come to the to his workshops. So workshop means there are many inventions. He has a inventor now. So he had many things in the workshop. So he allowed the Jim in that workshop. For the first time, he had gained permission to the chum, and he considered him as a good friend and Tony and stay with him also. Okay. So now they enter the workshop. Next morning at breakfast, the professor seemed abstracted. However, Jim was dying to ask him a question, and finally he could contain it no longer. So next morning he just stayed with the professor, and he abstracted means lost in the world of thought. Okay. He asked so many questions because Jim is a small boy. He wanted many questions answer from the professor. However, Jim was dying to ask him a question. Finally, he could not contain no longer. What is that enormous new shed you have built on the deer park? He asked. So what question asked by Jim? He asked the question about the park. The professor came out of his dream so suddenly that he spit the marmalade. Dear me, look at this. His monkey like little face with the long silver hair above it looked quite worried. Fancy not thinking of that before. The unspillable marmalade jar. So easy to invent. I just produced it. But what was that you are asking, Jim? The news state. Why the contains my Staros plan. Strato plan. What is on it? He asked. Okay. So now the professor. What is his basic character? He want to invent something. So in the time he invent one particular invention. He showed to the Jim. It is look like long silver hair above it and look like worried like it is look like a small monkey like little face. Okay, so he said fancy is not thinking it before an unspillable marmalade jar. He said it is a jar like so easy to invent that. I must produce it. So who said I must produce it? The professor said he must produce it. Want to produce it to Jim. But there was you are really want to asking Jim. So he asked the question to Jim about the jar. The news said why the contents my staroplane. He said it is a staroplane. Staroplane. What on earth that? Asked Tony. So Tony now asked the question to him. What is that? Okay. Now turn page number 53.